Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Yesterday, I talked about how easy it is to manifest. Manifesting made simple, creating an image, adding emotion, aligning with the law, living from the end, and repeating daily until your good shows up, until what you want to manifests into reality. Creating the mental image takes using your imagination, and for so many people, that's been programmed out of our lives as young children. But imagination creates fantasies. Fantasy is the first stage of creation in life. Everything was once just a fantasy, an idea, and then you start thinking about what it would be like if that was true, if that was real, and other ideas start coming, and pretty soon you've got things figured out. You've created a plan and brought your fantasy into reality. Think about anything that you've created in your life. The clothes you've purchased, the clothes you're wearing, the home that you live in, the furniture you sit on, the places that you've traveled, the things you've done, all started out as an idea, as a fantasy, until they became reality. Well, when we focus on limitations and that it can't happen because, then it won't happen, especially if you've got really good reasons for why it can't. So it takes using your will to design the picture and to relax and get into the feeling as if it's already done, how it will feel once it is real. We are programmed even before we are born. We're programmed genetically, and then we're programmed environmentally to live from the outside in, to look at what is already created and think that that's all there is. But it's harvest time now in Saskatchewan, and imagine that people hadn't thought of combines. They'd still be plowing fields with horses or oxen. They'd still be harvesting by hand. Things change when you look at a problem and decide that you want something more, something bigger, something better, something different. And then instead of immediately talking about why you can't, start thinking about what it would be like if that were true. Now our farmers are driving around in machinery that's bigger than some people's houses with air conditioning and GPS systems, and the machine pretty much does everything for them. Wouldn't that be nice if you had something that changed in your life, that made your life so easy, so simple, just flowing? What if the problem that you've been stuck in for years, you thought of something else and instantly it changed? We have 6 higher mental faculties that, besides imagination, that was not developed, or we were told to stop using our imagination and get to work and just learn what they taught in school and do what you're told. We have been gifted with higher mental faculties. Imagination is one of them, but you also have reason, you've got the ability to think, you've got perception, you can use your will, you have a memory, and one of my favorites, intuition. So instead of allowing the outside world to be like a 6-lane highway and create chaos in our thinking, or to just live on the programming that we've been programmed to live by other people that causes us to become a plaything for outside forces, we should start to observe and be aware of what's going on in our outside world, but be capable of creating and maintaining an individualized existence. It is each one of our own responsibility to learn how to utilize and develop our higher mental faculties. Our memory is perfect. I hear people saying, I have such a bad memory, I can't remember anything. Well, there are only weak memories and strong memories. All of our higher faculties are perfect. They merely require exercise to strengthen them. You can strengthen your memory through association, through simple little games. You can play games, the memory game with your children. You can associate names of people with something about them that makes them memorable to you, or say their name after they tell you their name, repeat it so that it can encode in your memory. You can associate things that you want to remember with a rhyme. Well, Proctor was my mentor, and he would say it was so easy to say 1 run, 2 zoo, 3 tree, whatever comes to mind. You can remember something like a monkey in the tree at the zoo, and that allows you to remember numbers. Reason is what gives us the ability to think. Thinking is our highest function. It is our inductive reasoning faculty that gives us the ability to originate individual thoughts. And we can bring those thoughts together in the formation of ideas. Have you decided what you really want? It takes deciding to go after something and then believing that it's possible. But so often we use our reasoning ability against ourselves. We talk about why it can't happen. We get all kinds of reasons built up and then we don't even try. You have the ability to think. Thinking is not just the mental chatter in your head. We all have 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day pouring into our mind. But instead of multitasking and allowing our brains to run around in chaos, what if you just took the time to focus on something that you really want? When you focus on something that you truly desire, and you start to add emotion to it and think about what it would be like to be living that way, to have that material thing or that experience, what it would be like to travel to that destination, what it would be like to be loved and in love, or have sufficient wealth to do what you want to do when you want to do it without worrying about debt. If you can think about something and what it would be like, use your imagination and maybe draw a picture, do some doodling, do some research. When you start to use your reasoning ability for you, ideas come from out of the blue. They come from the universal intelligence. And as you're thinking about what you want, and you form ideas and stay focused on those ideas, more ideas come, and as you write them down, they start to connect. You start to develop a plan, and then you create ways of doing things that are better, that are more efficient, that bring you what you really want. As human beings, we can control our thinking faculty. And since we can do that, we shouldn't spend any time thinking about negative thoughts or originating on ideas on why something cannot be done. But so often, that's an automatic response based on previous programming and our human tendencies to be fearful, to watch out for danger, to wait for the other shoe to drop, to think that we have to have everything figured out before we get started. You can choose how you want to see something. If you're looking at something that is not favorable in your life, what would be the polar opposite of that? You might take the time to write down something that is not going well in your life, how it currently is, and then write down the opposite. What is the opposite? What if the opposite happened? What if it could be done? Everyone has a point of view, an opinion. That's our higher mental faculty of perception. When we see something that causes us to think something cannot be done, we can change our perception of the situation, and we can originate an idea on how it can be done. Think of all the things that have been done: skyscrapers, airplanes, cell phones, electric can openers, air fryers, upright fridges and freezers that look like they blend into the wall. They look like they're a cupboard. Sunrooms, vehicles, anything can be done when you set your mind to it. I mentioned imagination. Everything is created twice. First, with imagination in your mind, and second, when it manifests in your material world. So you use your imagination to design what you really want, and then use your will. Your will gives you the ability to hold one picture on the screen of your mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions. The will gives you the ability to focus, to concentrate. The more you practice developing your will, the stronger it will become. How many times have you seen a person studying for an exam, and maybe their siblings are fighting or playing around them. People are laughing and joking and telling loud stories. But this one student is focusing all their energy on their textbook. Doesn't matter if they're on a bus or in a library or in a loud coffee shop. You can see that their attention is directed to what they're learning. You can develop your will. You can sit and stare at a dot on the wall and just focus all of your attention on that dot and block out the outside world and think of something that you truly desire. Your mind can take you to all sorts of wonderful places. Your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on whether you allow it to run wild and think of all the things that you're worried about, or capture that energy and focus it on what you do want. Focus all your attention on creating what you would like, and then use your intuition. Your intuition is where you pick up vibrations and translate those vibrations in your mind. Bob Proctor used to say that we live in an ocean of motion. You can pick up vibrations and translate them in your mind, just like with your five senses, where you see, smell, hear, taste, and touch. You're translating those messages through sight, through sound, through taste and touch and hearing. Well, your intuitive factor permits you to just know. Some people call it a gut instinct or a sixth sense, but it's not a sense. It's one of your higher faculties, and it can be developed to an extraordinary degree. You know, if you are walking alone and you get a feeling of, you might turn down a different road, you might go into a public area. That's your intuition maybe telling you that you weren't safe in that area. You can develop your intuition by thinking about a person, focusing on them, focusing on how you feel about them, a loved one, sending them love, thinking about the last time that you were together and had so much fun. When you focus and you think about someone, don't be surprised if they pick up the phone and call you or send you a text message. Your thought energy has been transferred to their mind, and they thought of you. Your intuition works better when you're calm, when you're relaxed. Your imagination works for you when you're calm and you're relaxed, because when you're in a stressful situation, when you're worried, when your anxiety starts to pick up, your imagination can think of all kinds of crazy things that are not true, and you can get into a state of fear. But just as easily, you can get into a state of well-being and faith. Faith and fear are both invisible, but Everything is energy. And as you focus, your ideas can turn to matter. They can turn to material objects. They can become hardened into fact. It can become your reality. It takes focusing your attention. Stop permitting the outside world to control your mind. Of course, you can objectively observe what's going on in the outside world, but you don't have to participate in the negative energy. You can look at what you've created in your life, what already is, and you decide, that's not what I want. Decide what you do want. Think thoughts that will create the idea of what you want. The thoughts that you think where you're emotionally involved in what you do want starts to get you excited. Start feeling the well-being of what it would be like to really have what you want. Then you start to get ideas, and as you focus with calmness and feeling as if it's already done, you start to get new ideas. And as you take action on those ideas, different results show up. As you consciously observe the new result, you mentally adapt to the new results and immediately begin to think the thoughts that create an idea of how to improve upon it. Remember, it starts with the thought. The thought causes the feeling causes the action causes the result. Start a train of thought in the direction of what you do want. You stay in charge of you. Don't let the outside world control you. You control the outside world by thinking, feeling, acting as if you already are the person that has what you truly desire. Use your reasoning ability to think of what you do want. Use your perception. Change the way you see things. Realize that everything is happening for your good. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Practice using your imagination. Imagination is a marvelous and miraculous force. Strengthen your imagination. Use your will to focus your attention. Practice developing your will, and it will become stronger. And then you can harness that energy. Remember, it takes creating the image in your mind, adding emotion, getting into that vibrational energy, that is aligning with the law of vibrational energy, or what most people call the law of attraction. Hold the image with consistency, with gratitude, and the universe will respond in kind. Practice living from the end. Step into the feeling of your desire already fulfilled. Ask yourself, if this were true right now, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I be acting today? And then live that way. And repeat daily. It's easiest to write down in a word, in a paragraph, in a sentence. I am so happy and grateful now that, and whatever your dream is, write it down as if it's already fulfilled. Your reasoning factor gives you the ability to reject anything that comes in from the outside world. But nowhere has it ever been written that circumstances are given dominion over mankind. Dr. J.B. Rhine said, "The mind is the greatest power in all of creation. You have infinite potential. Tap into that infinite power. Write down what you want, but don't just write it down. Don't just think about it. Don't just intellectualize it. Get into the spirit of being that. Get into the feeling that it's already created. It's already done. Everything has come together. Everything is manifested just the way you want it to be. Give thanks for it and watch it show up in your life. I am so happy and grateful now that. What is it that you desire? Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Thank you.